What's up, humans, and welcome to episode 45 of the Human Music Podcast, Munchii, Stay Hungry. Munchii is a producer dojo ninja who has remixed his life, remixed his brand, and won multiple remix contests through the dojo and Skio. His latest victory was winning the Kermode Chameleon remix contest. We talked about defining his brand, doing your own vocals, sampling, the basics of music copyrights, and of course, winning remix contests. Please support our sponsors, Dojo TV, where you can get free producer livestream classes from the Producer Dojo Senseis, guest practices, where you can learn from Seth Drake, the best engineer we know. Your first class is free, and of course, Gvngaroo Records music distribution, where you can get unlimited music uploads for under $10 a year. All right, without further ado, let's get into the episode.
Hello, people of Earth. This is Tesco with Rip Kenny and Trap Jesus, and you're listening to the Human Music Podcast. Woo!
Human Music Podcast. I like it.
What is up, humans? This week we're bringing you an awesome episode. Thanks for tuning in again, as always, to listen to us talk about music stuff and share a bunch of music knowledge with you that we've picked up from our own experience, from teaching students, and from our special guests. And I'm super stoked to announce, in addition to my beautiful human co-hosts here, Trap Jesus and Rip Kenny, the men themselves, we are also joined by an elite level producer and good friend, Munchii. And I'm super stoked to chat with him. He's, man, I've known you for quite a bit now. And I've seen your evolution in the last couple of years, and it's been pretty astounding. Today we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff like the remix contest that he just won for Producer Dojo. Yeah, man seriously knows what he's doing, and I'm super stoked to have him on today to talk about some awesome production stuff and share the knowledge with all of y'all listeners. So, on that note, thanks for joining us today, Munchii. And you want to kick it off by telling the people a little bit about yourself, your superhero origin story, if you will, what the journey's looked like so far for you, and all that good stuff.
Okay, my superhero origin story. All right. Well, I guess I've been thinking about this for the last hour. Okay, so got it down pat. All right, but so I started out in middle school, basically rapping because everybody was into rappers at the time. And if you knew your rappers, it was cool. Some kids started rapping in the grade above me, and I was like, I can do this better than him. And so I started doing it, and I guess I started getting popular, and it was all cool and stuff, So I started making songs, and then I needed beats for my songs, so I started making beats. I mean that's kind of Luke Rain here.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I'm channeling that energy, So I did that all throughout high school, kind of all throughout college, just picking up on different styles of music along the way. I mean, man, it kind of went from rap to progressive house to dubstep, back to rap, then future beats, and then anime beats, and then I joined the dojo, started making house music. Everybody was making dubstep, so I started making dubstep, and then I hated myself for doing that. Then I went back to house. Now I make house and dubstep. So it's kind of been all over the map, man. But it's just been a really long journey, and I'm just glad I'm here.
Sick, man. How long you been part of the dojo now? I feel like it's been quite a while.
I think it's been 3 years. It was 2018, in the new year when I started. So yeah, it's been 3 years.
Sick, man. And I'm curious, what's been inspiring you lately? I know you've been making some house dubstep kind of stuff, but like what's sort of the like looking to the future kind of plan for Munchii? Like what are you trying to do with the whole brand? And like you got the little character dude too, right? Like I'm curious, sort of like what's the direction you're going in moving forward?
So I think I've finally found like my true like brand like style, and it's kind of like it's like trap like or rap like mixed with like festival EDM. Cause like I remember back in high school I would like sit in like a dark room and just watch like the ultra like 2000 whatever like after movies and just like watch all the people having fun like screaming and just like shed a little tear. I was like, I want to be that. And after this whole like long journey, finally came back and I started like discovering that again. I like since I started working out recently, I've been really listening to a lot more festival music, like really fast paced stuff like speed house.
Dude, that's kind of making like a resurgence right now. Like UK Garage did that in the early 2000s and that kind of went away, and then it came back as like Jaws at like between 124 and 128, and now like the 135 type stuff is finally coming back. I'm here for it, dude. I love that type of shit.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. You explain it just like that because that's literally how I would explain it too. Like it's really BPM based. But it's really cool. Like, it's like, I think one thing that makes it like really good is that it's close to dubstep tempo. Because dubstep tempo, started as 140, now it's like 150, but speed house and garage is anywhere from like 130 to like 150, or like hardstyle goes up to like 160 or 170, so I like to like play within like that kind of range. Like I just made a set for I guess we're doing like some Kermode remix set like thing in a few weeks from now. So I made a set for it, and it goes like from like 125 like bass house, like almost bordering on progressive like big room, all the way up to like UK Garage, and then speed house, and then rhythm, and I didn't go quite into hardstyle yet, but if I did more, I would have gone there. Yeah,
sick, man.
That's kind of like the vision. It's kind of like more like trap rappy, and like just going really hard. Oh, I explained it to someone the other day, I think, as like my music is like throwing yourself into a fit of rage and like going as hard as possible, and then at the end of it you just look at yourself and you realize like, what did I just do?
Love it.
Yeah, man, you definitely got you've got a flair for that like wonderfully aggressive, like screw your face up, your hair flies everywhere. At least my hair flies everywhere when I'm bumping to your music, man. You've got some tunes that perennially make it into my sets when I want to turn the crowd up. You know what I'm saying? One of the first ones I really remember hearing from you was Ariados off of Class 0808 Volume 2. Like, that was my jam. Like, speaking of some nice, bassy, groovy house type stuff, like, I didn't know quite exactly what to call it, but I knew I was jamming my absolute ass off to it. So, yeah, man. Shouts out to Ariados if anybody hasn't heard that. And make sure.
Bro, that song did not leave my DJ sets since you sent me like not the whip, but like the before final version. Like since you sent that to me, and then leading up to getting the final version, like, bro, I play that shit out every fucking show. It just works perfectly with a bunch of other tunes I have, and it's a fucking bop. It just always drops right. People love it. So it's just probably not going to leave for a long time.
Dude, that was honestly... go for it, man.
Oh, no, go for it. Please compliment me again.
I fully plan on it. I had a hot-ass compliment loaded up, and I'm still gonna hit it. One of the things that I was gonna say when I knew you were coming on the show is that I've always felt like you had the sauce. Like from the first couple times we linked up to do some sessions and like work on your tunes, like, you know, some people just like, even if the beat's not finished, you can just tell like the guts just feel nice. Like, I feel like you're one of those producers that, like, no matter, like, if you're chopping samples or you're sound designing from scratch, you got the guts, boy. And I think that shows because, like, these guys to my left in the four squares, they have been playing your music in their sets. You would probably consider that a very early tune of, like, your official career as an artist, right? And just speaks volumes to the fact that, like, you know, you have the innate understanding of how to make a rhythm that works and how to get stuff that's going and sounds nice regardless of what you're using. I have to say, like, your explanation of your style as it's moving forward, it seems like the logical progression is that, like, you come back to rapping on your own shit. Like, at least in like a G house sense, where like you just need a phrase or something and you could pitch it down or whatever. You could do the zoo where you like falsetto it and then pitch it down or whatnot. But you have that skill set built in there somewhere. Like, have you ever thought about that?
That's true. Yeah. I think about it all the time, man. I'll make a beat and I'll just be like, damn, can I rap on this? And I'll be like, nah,
the answer is yes.
But yeah. And then I always do it. And I'm like, you know, you got to get it out first before you know whether or not it's good. And then, you keep it. And so far, I've only had one song that's really stuck. So I am planning on releasing like a rap, you know, bass song in the future. So that was a really good guess, dude. That was on point. That was really on point.
Solid. I mean, you got to get, like, if you have an idea in your head for a vocal, or even if you don't, like, honestly, I found recently when I'm working on music, like I'll just sing an idea and see if it, like, sometimes like the idea doesn't really work with my voice, and that's okay. Like, maybe I'll, like, you know, shop it to someone else and be like, hey, do you know, I feel like you would be perfect for this song. Like, I don't know if you want to write your own stuff. I wrote something to it. And like, sometimes it works out that like what you wrote works really well for this person. And then, like, you know, say you were paying someone to do vocals on your song, then you don't have to pay them to write it as well, because that like doubles the price. And so, like, even if you like get the basic idea in there, you have something to work with that you could send someone, or that special time that like your voice, which 99% of the time you hate in your own head, you're like, oh my God, my own voice is grinding my ears off. Yeah. That 1% when it actually clicks and you're like, fuck, does this actually work? Then you can just run with it. And then what I've found is that as I've gotten more comfortable screaming in my own home studio, that like more that 1% has grown to like 2 and then maybe 3. I'm gonna get real overzealous here and say maybe 5% now. Ooh. That like it happens where I'm like, that's workable, you know? But it just takes that practice and repetition of actually doing it, and like having the confidence in yourself to be like, okay, I'm gonna do the best that I can here, and if it sucks, it sucks, and be objective about it. Have you found coming back into rapping or trying to do some of your own vocals that you've had some of that stiction of feeling like, oh, can I do this? Because like for me, at least, as I leveled up my production career, then I was like, I can't have some garbage ass vocal on here. Like, I'm not good enough. But like, you can kind of produce your way into something that sounds good, right? But the stiction for can I is much higher. Have you felt that, or have you just been straight back into it?
Yeah, it's like it's like back and forth. It like comes in waves, man. It's like you'll make something that sounds really good, and you're like, damn, yeah, I can definitely rap on this. You make a verse, or, you know, sing, or whatever you do, and it sounds really good. You come back to it the next day. You do, you know, the next morning test to see if it's good or not. If it still sticks, then you're just like, damn, then I really got to do this. But then, see, the only thing I feel like that's holding me back is that I don't know how to process vocals. Like I've done like
no one does.
a lot of other stuff. Yeah.
It's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Like even the pros that are really good at it, I guarantee like couldn't do a specific style of vocals because like it is such a long chain of processing, and like a lot of vocalists will have their chain that works for their voice that they've been working on forever. And even the top dollar producers will be like, send me a version with your chain on it and send me a version dry. And I guarantee if that version with their chain on it sounds great, they're not going to try and reinvent the wheel because it is so specific to the voice. It is such a long chain to make it sound good and thick. Like it really is the most difficult processing task. I'm a hot take in music production, processing vocals to a polished 3D level is the hardest.
Because everybody knows what a human voice is supposed to sound like.
Yeah.
If you invented a serum patch that had never quite been tweaked like that before, you're like, this is just what it is. You don't have a point of reference. But you hear a voice and it's like, nah, I listen to voices on every record. That sounds fucked up. And it's fucked up.
Yeah.
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 Well, and like the standard of music and vocal production that like everyone's accustomed to is just out of this world. Like you hear a pop record, those are the vocals. Those are the best vocals in the game are on pop records. And that's like what you hear throughout 80% of your day and all the places you go. Like you're listening to a bunch of stuff that's not pop, maybe no pop, but you still hear a lot of fucking pop. And those pop vocals are the gold standard. And so you have like, when you're not 10 years into the game of producing vocals, like it's tough to live up to that standard.
Yeah, man. I mean, especially when you have to mix it and the point is to make it sound like God or something, you know? Like you have to have like every like, you know how like Pan it goes by like increments of 50. It's like 50, 25, like center 25, 50. And if you want to get, more in depth, you do even more than that. And then it's like vertically everything. Like, yeah. When you listen
and then lining up all the and then when you have those 7 layers from left to right, then you got to line all those up. Oh,
I hate that. Oh my God. It's already hard enough, like trying to like warp a sample or something to fit your track. Especially like, so I do DJ sets in Ableton a lot, and it always gets to the point where it gets off the grid. And now I'm like having to warp songs and match them together off the grid, and it's just like it's hell.
Here, I'll give you a tip in that exact thing because I was doing that a few months ago. What I found worked the best: start with the first snare and then line up the last snare. Say it's a halftime song where you're lining up snares, right? Because if you have that long distance, like if those two are lined up, if you zoom in and those are just lined up perfectly in phase, transient to transient, like everything in between is going to be too, if it doesn't change tempo, right? But it is really tough. And then the thing is though, like when you start warping stuff in Ableton, then I'm always just so worried about the sub because I feel like it's not going to be like after you stretch it. Like it's not going to be like quite as thick and powerful as it was in the original.
You can really hear artifacts on the sub note. I've noticed that in Reason too. It's like you start warping. That's why like a lot of times like, all right, flatten everything. Give me the, I want to do that phase 3 chopping, detailing all my sounds. But you know what? I'm just going to leave that sub on the sampler. Just let it keep playing for a MIDI, I can make sure that shit's clean the whole way.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I guess the thing that keeps me going when I do that is that there's an argument that like you can just play MP3s in a set and it'd be okay because people are listening to finished songs that they love and they already know. So it's like, even if it's not the highest quality, like, you can get away with it. And, obviously not playing MP3s, but if it's a little off, I'm just like, you know what? I have like 20 other songs I have to do. I just got to keep going, man. Just got to keep going. And I mean, that's like a stylistic choice, right? If your brand or like the way you do things is really focused on quality, like utmost quality of every single thing, then yeah, you're gonna do that. I think for me, like my style's like kind of raw, so it's kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna put something in there that fucks up a little bit, but when the drop hits, that shit is unwarped. That shit's gonna hit.
Totally. And I think that like I'm sure that this is what you had in mind. Like the energy and flow of how the music is progressing is way more important than like a little sonic touch. Like if you throw in like a Blink 182 song or something in the middle of your set at like the perfect moment where like it would just fucking go off. Like the sonics of those don't match at all. And maybe you warped it to the point where it doesn't sound great, but like the context, the emotional context of that moment is going to be so powerful. No one gives a fuck what it sounds. You could have like recorded it back at 128 kilobytes while you farted and burped, and like the whole crowd would still be like, fuck yeah, I know this song, you know, like the like contextualizing like the moments is way more important than play the right song. Yeah. Like first above everything.
Dude, that's definitely true. I mean, imagine like if you farted and burped and you played Blink 182, people like post that clip on YouTube and be like, yo, X DJ like played Blink 182 while he farted and burped, but nobody like he played like this song with 50 plays while he farted and burped. It's just gonna be cringe, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Totally. Exactly.
Yeah, otherwise it would just be DJ farts and burps on stage.
Yeah. Come on, we all do that, you know. So
yeah, the bass is louder. I didn't know the mic was on. What the fuck, man? You guys stop bringing it up. I'm embarrassed. All right.
Yeah, that's funny, man. That's really funny.
Yeah. It seems like, what the point you're trying to make is that like nostalgia is way more powerful than 99% of people's hearing. Like some people have the ear training to really like hear past, yeah, I know I love that song, but fuck that. I can hear the MP3 algorithm messing up the bass and the highs above 10K. Most people don't have that vocabulary, let alone the actual ear training to know that you played a less than stellar quality track.
You know what's fucking even funnier than that is that most self-proclaimed audiophiles cannot even in a blind test pick out a 128 versus a 320 versus a wave. They cannot.
I mean, I feel like
I'm not even gonna pretend. I'm not even gonna pretend that I can flex and pick them out, because I did the fucking test online when someone like posted on Facebook about it. Like, dude, I couldn't even figure out which one was which, and I was like, "Yeah, right, motherfucker, watch this." And I missed I got like 3 out of 10.
Wow,
dude, it's hard.
I bet the listening environment makes a big difference on that, right? Because you were online, so everything was then compressed and encoded to the point where it's like, damn, I can't really tell. Whereas if you're like on the speakers, you absolutely know, with a track, you know, sitting in just the right position in a good room, and you hear the wave next to the 128, that might make a difference. If you were on, like, I was at South by Southwest. It was like walking through the Gear Expo, and I threw on some like $3,000 Audis headphones off a tube amp playing Bruno Mars Unorthodox Jukebox on vinyl. And I'm like listening to the song. I'm like, there are frequencies I didn't know existed in my ears right now. This sounds so incredibly good. I'm not ever going to spend $3,000 on headphones probably, but I can kind of see why people might at this moment. But that $3,000 headphones goes with the $2,000 amp, goes with the vinyl, goes with the, it's like, if you're going all that, okay, maybe.
But bro,
yeah, as far as what was uploaded to SoundCloud,
I feel like that shit would even slap through that setup, though. I feel like it's the tube amp plus the expensive ass headphones. Like, you could listen to a 96 kilobyte per second MP3, and that shit's gonna sound fire. But the thing
everything
is,
on SoundCloud.
The thing is, pitch it down a semitone or 2 or 10, and that 96 kilobyte falls the fuck apart. It's like even the 320 can kind of hold up.
That
The 128 is pretty fucking bad. The wave will always sound best if you're pitching it around. And I think it's more of a concern for DJing, because if you're like fiddling with the tempos, like if it's 140.1 instead of 140, I feel like that'll sound way worse on a 128 kilobyte per second ripped, MP3 than it would on a wave. And I think it's just for resampling purposes.
That's actually a really good
But what
point.
the fuck do I know?
No, that's a really good point. I mean, to be fair, like played on its own, you'd probably never know, but the aliasing, the increase when you're pitching it around would be dramatic. So
Yeah.
If you have pitch lock anyway, if it's just, changing the speed along with the pitch, like classic sort of, sampling mode, then probably not. But yeah, if you're DJing, you probably want key lock on so that, your shit doesn't sound like a nightmare every time you like switch tracks.
Dude, when I discovered key lock, my life changed. My life changed. I was like, holy shit, I don't have to like play songs that are out of key.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
Oh my god, my music, like this set sounds good now.
Yeah, it's like, why does this sound like shit? These both slap on their own. Oh, I pitched this one up 1 BPM.
yeah, except Serato, if you have it key locked and you move it more than 4 BPM up or down, then it starts to break apart and sound like shit.
Yeah, this is an anti-Serato podcast.
Shout out Serato for being a piece of shit. Sponsored by Serato.
Shout out to our piece of shit sponsors. Love you guys. Y'all suck.
Thanks for the money. We recommend nobody buy you.
On that note, check our real sponsors below that aren't pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, including the Producer Dojo. What's up, everybody? Hey.
Yeah.
I actually want to. Speaking of samples, I want to ask one of my questions that I had.
Ooh. Yeah, we forgot to tell y'all. Munchie's the most prepared guest we've ever had. He brought questions for us. We didn't even bring questions for him, barely. I'm impressed. You guys should definitely give him a follow on all socials.
Yeah, what's up?
At Munchie, bruh. 2 eyes.
But yeah, so the one thing I want to ask is, so like, Tesco, I know you're a programmer, right?
Yeah.
I'm a programmer too. That's what I do in my 9-to-5 job. But this can apply to like everybody. So if you guys don't know, there's this website called Stack Overflow, and there's like a big meme in the programming community where it's like it's just a forum where you post questions and you get answers, right? So but what makes it different from a regular, like say like music forum or something, is that people will literally just copy and paste their code and say, I have something that needs to be fixed. It's not working, fix it. And then somebody will reply with the fixed code all laid out, and then explain why the fix works. And it's just like, it's insane because it's really reflective of this programming community where you can just copy and paste stuff willy-nilly and nobody cares. There's no legal like bullshit like attached to like the code where you can't like put it in your own code. So on that note, like if you guys imagine like a world where there was no like legal sampling issues in music, right? What do you think that would look like? Like, do you think we would all be making better music, or do you think everything would just become super oversaturated and all the classics would just like die out? And yeah, I mean, it's a really loaded question, but yeah,
this is one of the spiciest questions ever asked.
This is a great debate starter.
And I'm sure, Luke, you probably know way more on this than me and Evan do when it comes to like royalties and splits and stuff. I feel like if it was a perfect world where labels aren't just bending over artists and just, like absolutely taking advantage of their careers and like, keeping as much royalties as they can for themselves and all these things. If it was actually like artists were primarily independent entrepreneurs who are well educated on like royalties and splits and all yada yada yada, I feel like it would not be a problem at all to sample. Now the Stack Overflow comparison with sampling, I feel you because I've thought about that. But the interesting distinction is like somebody might post like a sorting algorithm from their code and at their job or for their assignment or whatever that they're doing, it might be being applied in a totally different context than what you're looking for. And to me, that's kind of equivalent to like a sample. So like if I buy the Munchii sample pack, it's like me like forking your repository or like grabbing your answer on Stack Overflow and like applying it to my context. But I still find a lot of people will like license out algorithms. Like I've noticed in the VST development world, like for really complicated shit, like if you want to do an auto-tune plugin, like that shit is difficult. Like in some cases, you're better off just licensing an algorithm that already does that. And so I guess I've always kind of come to terms with it that way, where I'm like, okay, getting an answer off Stack Overflow is like going to r/drum kits and like downloading a new drum kit and using it for your own type of music or whatever. But then a remix is like a remix is taking all of the original content of the song, basically. And I guess this is where it's a gray area, right? Because if you just take the vocal stem and none of the other shit, it's like still a remix of that original track. Whereas I guess if you were to download somebody's repository and maybe use like say off GitHub, like straight up just rip a repository and then just move some files around, rename some stuff, and maybe make like a recipe app into a workout app. I guess man, now that I'm even talking out loud, it's such a gray area. Like if you acknowledge it and just straight up take it from somebody and don't credit it, and your creation would not have been possible without the original, then you're a dick for not crediting it. But if it's like such a small aspect, like if I use a Munchii kick, is it a Munchii remix? No.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like these people that are giving away these samples or whatever, they're happy for you not to credit them. I mean, you can upvote them on like the forum and stuff, but they're just like doing it out of the good of their hearts or because they like programming or something.
See, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say with Stack Overflow, sometimes I don't even know if it's the good out of their hearts always. Sometimes I feel like it's just like, no, fuck you. This way is more efficient.
Oh, yeah. It's a bunch of like incels, like they're just about solution. No, this, you idiot.
You ever see that meme where it's like, if you want a answer on Stack Overflow really quickly, what you do is create 2 accounts, post your question, and then on another account, answer the question wrong with absolute certainty, and somebody will immediately get back to you and be like, well, actually.
That's hilarious. Yo, I want to try that. That's such a good social experiment. And it's hilarious. Yeah.
No, it's a good-natured site, but every once in a while you see a comment and you're like, bro, what are you compensating for?
It's just a light flex off the whole time.
Dude, welcome back to the Human Coding Podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ones and zeros.
1100101, my guys. Am I right?
I agree.
You're right. You're right.
Raffle.
You're definitely right. No, it's funny because if you think about that forum in the context of like music, that's essentially like someone posting stems to their song and be like, this mix sucks ass. Can you fucking mix it for me? And someone being like, yeah, sure. And just like fully mixing and uploading you the project. Like that is crazy to me. Like, even if it is just a light flex off, that'd still be like 4 or 5 different mix downs to the same song. Like, take your pick. Which one's better? Like, that's amazing. That's really cool that community does that. To your question of like, would it be good for like the musical output of the world? I don't know. That's really tough because I feel like it would create a lot of like nostalgic banger remixes, but also less original content that pushes the evolution forward, because like as we've seen, the trending way to blow up is not through making the most original forward thinking stuff. It's making a fucking SpongeBob SquarePants Psytrance remix. You motherfuckers. Like that shit is like what people do to blow up now. Like that's how they go. And I respect it. Like SpongeBob and Psytrance, that's a match made in heaven, obviously.
I thought it was a match made in Bikini Bottom.
That, yes, that too. But like, you know, like it would be easier to grab like the most famous acapella that like sounds great and like spin it and like get some hits because people know that acapella, and like you're flipping it in a different way. I honestly, I'm not going to say that the current system is like a healthy balance, but that does still happen. Like people will still bootleg stuff just to play in their own sets, and then, you know, make their original music. So it's tough because I feel like it would be good and bad. The tendency would be to like scavenge that environment to just try and make some quick bucks off the original. I mean, how would you feel about that if you had like the hottest track of all time and you weren't getting those royalty checks from all the covers made, and you were just getting to sit there and watch all these people like put your work up on the internet? I don't know.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I feel like the tough part is like
the crux of it.
Yeah,
I've seen so many people on various posts and threads and shit be like, man, fuck copyright. I hate copyright. I wish it would just get abolished. And like, yeah, man, you say that because you tried to upload your mashup to Facebook and they blocked your shit. Or you uploaded it to YouTube and they demonetized you and gave you a strike or some shit. Like, but as soon as you're the one who finally got a song that made money, and then other little motherfuckers on the internet went and stole your shit to get popular, and you didn't see a cent, you'd be like, wait, hold the fucking phone. I finally made a hit. Yeah. Stop stealing my music.
Yeah.
You know? And there's like, you know, like, I mean, there's nice gray areas, you know? If you mess it up enough, like SoundCloud and some other places won't take you down. You know, and YouTube, often your shit doesn't get taken down. It just gets monetized for the original, you know, the original rights holders, which is dope because then, hey, I 100% stole this music and you guys did me the solid of not deleting it off the internet. I still get the fucking hits on my channel. Well, you get the money from those hits on my channel. That's a nice little win-win. And those things can become bigger things. Like I just Googled it to make sure. So there's a super classic Luther Vandross song called Never Too Much. Super hit from like the 80s. Dope R&B stuff. And there's a Rihanna track called Kiss It Better. Another hit, right? Two totally different tracks. And this cat Amorphous, this producer, heard in his brain exactly how to mash these two up. And he mashed them up and he put them on his YouTube channel. And that shit, let me just see how many hits this thing has. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's see how many YouTube hits this has as of right now. Ooh, that got loud in my ears. Looks like, I mean, you know, saw 250,000 you know, hits on his shit. But here's the real cool part. That got heard by these guys, Cool and Dre, who are super heavy hitter hip hop producers. And they brought it over to Fat Joe. And now there's a music video where Fat Joe is on a yacht in Miami with DJ Khaled and Puffy toasting champagne. And the beat is this mashup beat and the hook is Rihanna. And this cat Amorphous, who was, you know, previously a fairly unknown producer doing his thing, very skilled, but wasn't blown up. decided, you know what, I know I can't make money off this, but I'm going to put it out there because I love it and people would like hearing it. And then boom, now he's got placements as a mashup between like 3 of the hugest artists. And like, so that can go that way. So to circle back around, I think that if we do away with the copyright system, music as an industry would crumble. Yeah, maybe it'll be more democratic, but nobody's going to make any money off it and then nobody's going to invest in it. So obviously the current system is far from perfect, and there's a lot of legislation working to make the shit better. And there's a lot of things that are not getting made better yet and need to, but having copyright and knowing how to own and exploit your own copyrights to make money off your music and collect on what those copyrights are earning when your music gets played is the important part. And knowing your rights and your knowledge and you know, working that shit, like, it's the information's all out there. Like, y'all know I work with Bounce Gang. My dude Hayden THC over Bounce Gang got in some situations where his music was going bigger places. Like, he wrote and produced a record that ended up getting picked up by Cassette, this track called Run Run that his roommate sang on, and they co-wrote it together, and he produced the original version. It got picked up by Cassette and became, you know, a fairly big hit for them. And he all of a sudden like had to figure out like, oh damn, like I've got now this offer of a co-pub deal, and I've got to like learn this, that, and the third, and like, where's all this money come from? Damn, like, oh, I'm getting all this money from that, and like, where's that? Oh, damn, this society, and I need to be registered over here and over there and over there, and he like learned all this shit, and now it's like, all right, well, now he learned all this shit, he put it together as like a system inside of Bounce Gang that now you can go register your shit with. And I've been helping him do these this YouTube video series called Music Publishing Money Explained. Like, I'm helping him like edit the language of the articles and edit the videos and shit. And like, I am learning so much about the places I need to put my music to monetize that shit. And it's like, man, the more empowered you are about how the industry actually works, the better it feels to know that like when your song hits, you can actually reap the rewards of it, and other people can't just steal it from you because you've got your ownership registered correctly, and the money actually comes to you. And then when somebody bootlegs your shit on the YouTube, you have it registered with Content ID correctly, and then you have the option of take it down or monetize this for me, and you can go get your money off their 250,000 spins.
Hell yeah!
So,
drop us some bombs from what you've learned from that after you finish what you're going to say.
Yeah, okay, so the last thing I had planned to say already was I think the solution is probably going to lie somewhere in blockchain and like having some sort of like audio code embedded in the original master file. I think that I'm not the coder, y'all figure that shit out. But I'm hoping that there is some sort of way, you know what I mean, if I can Shazam the track, and in 2 seconds, the internet tells me exactly what that song is and the lyrics and shows me the music video and gives me a link to buy it. Like, how could it not be that if I sample somebody's track and I upload it, they just like, oh yeah, like it's a mashup between this song and this much original production. And that means that the splits go like this. And then instead of having this big rigmarole with trying to clear it with the publishing company and the master rights holders, it could just like exist on the internet and allow people to do the sampling a little bit easier, but also make sure that everybody's credited correctly and paid correctly. Like, that would be an ideal situation to me, to be like a best of all the worlds, where you still have copyright protection and still have, you know, still allow the awesome, amazing culture of sampling that is an integral part of music at this point to thrive.
Wow. Damn. See, this is what I'm saying. When I listen to this podcast, I get an existential crisis, and by the time it's like whatever said is done, I like have an awakening. Like bro, you just blew my mind. Because like, I mean, if you think about the way like an EQ works, right? You're taking like a signal and you're doubling it. Fuck, I forgot. It was like you're basically taking it like out of phase, right? So
like
if you had like Shazam or something that applied like a bunch, like millions of samples or something to whatever song you're listening to, and you could subtractively determine what that sample is. I mean, like you could subtractively determine what the song is already, but if you can determine what the sample is, because that sample is embedded in the song. Like we can hear that I used like, you know, like some Kanye sample, or, you know, like the bed squeak sample from like Jersey Club song, right? And that sample can definitely be traced out back to something as long as you like attribute it to a code. Yet like blockchain, that makes total sense because you have like an ID associated with that song. And you would be able to get an entire list of samples. Like who sampled would just be like a freaking dictionary at that point. It's not just a song. It's like every sample that has ever been in that song is like, you know, is being listed there. And then if everybody gets the credit from that, that's amazing, dude. That's genius. That's genius.
Man.
I guess the only problem would be like how much credit do you get? Like if you use like a, you know, 0.5 second sample, like once, like, you know, how much credit do you get? But that's going to be like a big legal debate, I think, by the big players or something.
Yeah.
Hopefully the music industry doesn't get like shortchanged at that point, like it does with streaming now, where you make like 0.00 of a cent, you know, something of a cent, you know. But hell, man, if I mean, damn, even if you made 0.00 something of a cent out of a bed squeak sample, you know, the entire Jersey Club genre is based off of that bed squeak, dude. Like it's used everywhere. You know how much money you would make? God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It wouldn't that be a cool world? Like, yeah, each song it's like, you know, you would get that like social credit for like inventing something that everybody wants to sample, you know? Like, you know, I mean, like it's already starting to happen like a little better with like the way you like people now they're like just starting to build it into social media apps. It used to be like, oh, you use that popular song in your little story video, so we deleted your story video on Instagram. And now it's like, click the music sticker and then just type in what song you want from Spotify, and it's automatically playing over your video. Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, now we just like, oh yeah, cool. Now that counts as a Spotify stream, so those people get their money from you being in that video. And then there's also like mechanical royalties that get generated from, you know, from you being on, say, like TikTok. You know, now you sign up your song on, I think TikTok is on MediaNet maybe, but it's a mechanical royalty collection society that you know, there's like 4 of them in the U.S. that collect on various parts of mechanical. So that's some of the shit I've been learning about from those videos that you asked me to talk about, Riff Kenny. Yeah, so some basics on copyright. There are 2 copyrights for your musical composition or for your music. There's the composition copyright, which is protects your melody, your lyrics, you know, your basically what would be on the sheet music, you know. So that is automatically owned by composers, lyricists, and songwriters. Then there's the the sound recording copyright on the other side, and that is the actual sound recording, digital or physical. That protects the ability to copy that part, the actual song, as a sound. Then that is automatically owned by the producers, the engineers, and the performers when that's created. You know, people are like, oh, but isn't that owned by like the label or something? Yes, because those producers, engineers, and performers signed a contract with the label, giving up their rights to the master recording in exchange for usually like advance money. And so like if you are an independent artist and you composed and wrote and recorded and made your own master recording, you own all of that shit 100% on both sides. If you collab with people, you create a split sheet, which is an agreement of what percentage people get. So if the 4 of us collabed on a song, we could be like, all right, even splits 4 ways. We each own 25% of both of these. Or it could be a situation where like it was mostly a Munchii song and the 3 of us like collabed and we were like, hey, you know, we don't want like 25% of your song. You did most of the work. How about you give us each 5% or 10%? Would that be fair? And you just write that up. And then whatever that is, you register that with all of these different societies, your PRO, that collects on performance rights from all the places that your composition is performed. So whether that's your song is played on the radio or whether it's in a concert hall and you like actually sing it live, that's also a public performance that will get your money. And so you're making money off these two places. Then there's there's the overlap spots, which are called mechanical royalties. Mechanical royalties are where you have basically the sound recording is making money, but that sound recording contains a written song composition. And so they're like, oh, well, doesn't it make sense that when the sound recording is making money over there, that the people who wrote the song should get like a chunk of that money? Yes, the government thought so too. So in 1909, they invented mechanical royalties. And there's, like I said, 4 societies. There's Harry Fox, there's MediaNet, there's Music something, God damn it. I've done so much research on this, and now I'm screwing it up at the last minute.
One day the Avatar will bring the 4 societies.
And then, the Music Licensing Collective is the new one. Harry Fox is the biggest one, the oldest one. Music Licensing Collective is the newest one and going to be the most important one because that's what the Music Modernization Act created to help like actually standardize this, and they're going to be kind of like the oversight body that like helps set new fair rates and regulates and makes sure like sets a new blanket statutory rate that's going to be hopefully more fair and more money for the people who actually own the publishing. Important note, your composition copyright is split into 2. Half of it's owned by the writers. That's the people we talked about, the songwriters, composers, and lyricists. The other half is owned by the publishers, where again, if you're independent, that's you. So when you sign up for your PRO, your public performance rights organization like ASCAP or BMI, you need to sign up as a writer and as a publisher because your performance rights get split into 2. And if you only sign up as a writer, you're missing literally half of all your performance rights. Then definitely better be a publisher because there's all these other things like mechanicals that do not come to anybody but the publisher. So you better sign up as a publisher. And then the other way that they overlap is called neighboring rights, which is like, oh, well, doesn't it make sense in these places that the composition is making money, that the sound recording should make some money? And every like 100 and something, 96 countries, not including the US, were like, yes. And the US is still like, nah, we don't like that shit. So that doesn't exist here. But there is digitally it does. It doesn't exist for the radio. So if you register your songs with Sound Exchange, then you can get your money from neighboring rights. And they also help you get your neighboring rights money from overseas, like if your music is played on the radio in other countries.
So as if I released a song, everything self-released, self-published, written, everything 100%. And I didn't register it with ASCAP yet, and someone sampled it or tried to make money off my song, can I retroactively register it and recoup that money, or is that just lost in the ether to the person?
Well, so what ASCAP doesn't have anything to do with your sound recording. Like automatically, because you made that song, technically you are already protected because you own the copyright to that recording. And then you can sue them and try to prove that that was your recording first. Like, hey, look, I've got the session file. I have this time, date stamp on this. And then their track didn't come out till months later or whatever. But the way to protect your sound recordings is to register them with the Copyright Office, so copyright.gov. You can register stuff there. You can register them one track at a time. I think each registration still costs $55. But if you say did a whole album where everything, all of the writing and the ownership and everything is all the same for every track, you can batch them as many as you want under that $55. And that's the most official way to protect yourself, because then on this date, it's officially in the Library of Congress, and they know that, and they have those records. And anybody who messes with it after that is like, dude, the government already has this. You screwed up. And then if you have that, then you can you get extra protections. Like you can sue them for the legal fees and shit that you incurred while fighting the case and get that awarded back to you and stuff like that. As far as registering your stuff late, some of the money, to my understanding, some of the money that you would have gotten can still get to you. There's like, you know, kind of like a statute of limitations. There's like an amount of time that unclaimed money has to sit in what's called the black box, which is just a generic term for money that nobody registered, but money got made and these societies collected it on your behalf, but you never showed up to get it and register your songs. Eventually that black box money ends up like getting distributed through, in most instances from what I've heard, it gets distributed to like the top earners. So basically like Drake and Taylor Swift will get your money because they assume, well, this is probably for them.
Motherfucker, I'd prefer that ASCAP kept it for themselves to make their shit run smoother than give it to fucking Drake. He doesn't need any more bag. He's got all the bag already.
Yeah.
So,
but,
okay, so
yes, eventually
continue.
you can't get all of it. So that's why it's important to register your shit correctly. I know I haven't really registered all my shit correctly just because I didn't know most of the shit until fairly recently. And I knew some of it, like registering my shit with ASCAP, and I've been getting royalties on some of my bigger songs I've produced for people, but man, like eventually you just like don't get that shit back. Like I'm looking back like, damn, if I had you know, some of my earlier tracks that, you know, the rapper blew it up that I had produced, like I've missed out on substantial amounts of money, you know, hundreds and hundreds of dollars at least from a couple of songs that I don't have registered correctly, that I need to go like get on Sound Exchange and get my shit registered over there. So
say just in theory, everything you just said made my head spin.
Yes.
And I instead chose to register all of my music with, for instance, a Gvngaroo pub admin account. Shameless plug. How much of that process would be automated for me if I registered it through that?
Basically, everything I've mentioned outside of Sound Exchange. Like currently, Gvngaroo does not have the ability to do the neighboring rights portion. So you would also be advised to make an account. We're working on that. I talked to Hayden. He said we're working on that shit. But right now, what we can do is register. It's what's called publishing administration. So everywhere the publishing makes money is where we can register. So there's forms on the website where you can enter all the information for the song, or we have a batch upload sheet where you can enter, you know, a whole album or a whole catalog's worth of information for all your songs and put it into the system where we can then register it with all of the PROs. We can register it with BMI, ASCAP, and CSAC. We can register it with all of the mechanical licensing collectives. So there's 4 of those. And there was one more thing that I'm slipping on that we have because I know the number is 8. So I've named 7 places that you're missing out on money, and we've got 8 currently that your publishing is making money. And so we can register with all those places in one fell swoop. We cannot collect, because we collect on publishing, not on writers, your ASCAP or BMI account or CSAC, if you're balling them like that. CSAC is an invite only, and they only take people that are actually doing shit with their music because they're a lot more hands-on. But ASCAP or BMI, literally anybody can sign up. I'm with ASCAP. I recommend them. I've had good experiences. And also, BMI gives you the writers for free, but then it's like more complicated, more expensive to get your publisher account set up. Whereas ASCAP, it's just flat $50 for each one, no hassle. So it's actually more. It's when you think you only need a writer's account, BMI seems like the move. But when you know that you also definitely need your publisher's account, ASCAP is definitely the move because it's cheaper overall and it's just a little easier. But you know, a lot of my homies, a lot of good people are with BMI. No shade. If you choose BMI or already were with BMI, just go get your publisher's account. Also, it's like $150. Just go do it. But so to loop back around, yes, Gvngaroo music publishing, Gvngaroo pub admin. We can register all your stuff and collect on all your publishing from all of those places, from 8 different societies, when you register with us in one simple form. And then also you will be collecting your writer's share directly from ASCAP or BMI, and you still should go to Sound Exchange and register there so you can collect, as long as you are indeed the performer and or the copyright holder for the sound recording. Because the way Sound Exchange works is 50% goes to the copyright holder, which in any case of independence is you, and the performer, which is whoever's name is like actually on that record. So, you know, in a Rip Kenny, every Rip Kenny record says Rip Kenny right there on Spotify. You are the main performer. If it's like Rip Kenny featuring Munchie, then it would be the two of you would split 45% for the performer's share. Now, wait, that leaves 5%. Yes, that goes to SAG-AFTRA and AFM, the American Federation of Musicians, basically for like a union fund that that the session vocalists and session musicians get. And even if you had none of those on your record, it still goes to them.
Good for them, SAG-AFTRA for
SAG-AFTRA.
Saggy after for the session musicians. Get your bags, session musicians.
We gotta get Hayden on here pretty soon because I'm doing a pretty decent job of explaining this stuff, but he's the guy I'm learning it all from, so he can really break it down, and we could like get questions from people to answer specifically as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
He said he's definitely down to come on soon.
Sick. Well, that was all
go for it.
extremely information dense. I'm gonna have to hit repeat on that 20-minute, 15-minute section, whatever it was.
Also, even better, like I edited videos of the dude I learned it saying, and the fourth one drops tomorrow. So I guess 2 weeks ago tomorrow for the people watching this who aren't on the call right now. So by the time anybody else but the four of you, the three of you and me, I'm a different person sometimes. But by the time anybody else hears this shit, there will be a 4-part series out on the Bounce Gang, BOUNCEGVNG YouTube page. If you search Music Publishing Money Explained, will come up. We tested that title in SEO and it worked out.
Right.
So yeah, if you type that phrase in, you will find us. Music Publishing Money Explained. And it's like four videos. It's probably less than, I don't know, maybe it's like an hour 10, hour 15 of actual information, but it like really goes in, you know, it's got like titles above, and like, you know, I was like pointing over here at the sound recording and pointing over here at the composition. We're actually like I typed in those things into little overlays, and
look at you.
Yeah. I don't know all the shit, but I definitely know how to video edit some of the shit. So they're really good videos. Shouts out to Hayden. Super glad I could help because I learned a ton doing it. But hey, remember we got this guy Munchie on, and I want to know more about him.
I was gonna say
tangent. But he's the only one who brought questions for us. That's
that
fucking
information
dope.
could not be more helpful. But
I actually have a segue for that.
Hey,
you legend.
I do want to mention that. Goddamn, I am gonna have to press repeat and all that too. But goddamn, Bounce Gang like thing sounds like a great idea. So
I registered all my shit.
Like, yeah, no, exactly. I mean, goddamn, if I'm missing money from all these places, like, why the hell not? You know, what do I have to lose? Money? Well,
yeah, right. We're already doing it. We're already losing the money.
yeah. And on that topic, it's cool that you guys have a platform where you can, you have all this knowledge and you have the ability to act on this knowledge, and you sell it like as a service, right? And I feel like, if you like, for not just for producers or like artists or whatever, but like even for large companies, like if you're the CEO or the head guy in charge, a lot of what you do is outsourcing like labor to other, people or other artists. So like, for example, if you're doing like a DJ set, you may outsource the video, like the visuals to someone else, and you still have to collaborate with that person and figure that out. Or if you're working with a vocalist or something like that, or like a mixing or mastering engineer. So like, like where do you guys kind of draw the line at like learning like new skills in that sense, you know? Because I've been wanting to do like visuals for a little while now, but I'm just so deep in producing. I'm like always finding new things, and it's like I already know how to produce. Like, goddamn, like I mean, I did just watch the Alter video, the Human Music Podcast video, and like I mean, that's his whole thing, right? He just like goes, you know, straight into it. But at what point do you outsource your stuff, right? Have you guys had like any experience like doing that sort of thing? And was it a good decision? Was it a bad decision? I don't know.
I think
it's all that like the trade-off of like time versus money versus experience, right? It's like, do you have the time that you could figure it out and make something that you're happy with and invest that time to save yourself the money of paying someone else to do it? And also the added benefit is you have complete control over the creative process, although you might not be able to execute at the highest level that you would like for that stuff to come out. For me, I've recently felt like keeping everything in-house, like video content, like the teaser videos, that kind of stuff. Like, you can, if you know how to like put some basic clips together, there's enough like effects and stuff that you can grab that you can make a teaser video that looks okay, not super pro level, but like good, and throw it together. For me, I've found that like being able to keep myself on a self-release timeline that's consistent. I'm not waiting for other people to make a video. I'm not waiting for other people to master my music. The only thing that I'm outsourcing is the album artwork, because there's no fucking way I could make something that looks aesthetically as clean as I want to for that. Like video, I feel like it's almost slightly more amorphous, where you can like grab clips from different places, use like royalty free like images, and then just like put some different filters over it for like coloration and stuff. But that being said, it's definitely all about like what you have the time and capacity to complete for yourself. But like you mentioned, our guest Alter, he's the king of, yeah, I think I could do that. And then just like having a project that he commits to learning that thing for, and then just diving all in on it. I do think that the prerequisite to that is that you have enough bandwidth in your production journey at that point, which you are confident that you can take that process all of the way and have time left over to work on all this other stuff. You have to be seasoned enough to streamline that process. But once you've freed up that mental bandwidth to learn that next thing that can, push yourself to the next level. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. What about you, Nicola?
I think it all depends on what kind of artist you're trying to be, right? Because like there's so many different aspects to it. And when you say art, you might think of visual art or music or, so on. But it's like, if you want to be somewhere in the middle of the Venn diagram intersection of two or more of these areas, then it's a matter of like, how complex is the idea you're trying to do versus how much skill do you have in this? And then on top of other factors, like, do you have kids? Are you working a job? Are you doing all of these other stuff? So I feel like it comes down to figuring out how you actually want to express yourself into the world. Because like, to be like, I'm a videographer or I'm a producer or whatever is kind of limiting in the sense that it sort of pigeonholes you into this like one narrow category, and people have certain expectations there. But if you're trying to do something a bit more left field, then it might require a combination of all of them to properly get your art across. So like, first example that comes to mind for me is somebody like Lil Darky, who like does his raps within like a weekend, does the artwork the day after because he knows how to draw, and then gets an animation done afterward. And the whole package the way he immerses you in his world is through his character in some music video going through some sort of story that relates to the music he wrote. And everything sort of happens in this like condensed time frame, I guess. At least the way he talks about his writing. It doesn't seem like he's, you know, letting ideas sit for like 2-3 years the same way a producer would. But to him, more so the experience is like, let me get that visual aspect of it out alongside the music. So that's a different form of art there. But then you think of somebody like, I don't know, would Eminem know all of the rhymes he does if he was also producing his own beats and doing his own artwork and this, that? So it's like, no, he chose to go down the clear path of fuck everything else, I'm a rippity rapper, right? Versus where someone else might be like, well, I like both of these. Maybe I don't have to be the best rippity rapper or the best, you know, at drawing stuff or doing animations, but it's this specific combination of things in these specific amounts with these two main influences from these areas that come together that really make the experience. So I think it all just depends on like, are you trying to create I don't want to say more dimensional experience, because I think too, it's like some people find others that they work with really well and they get the vision to come together solely. But like, if you really want creative control and you have a very, very specific thing of what you want to get across, then I would say figure out what really calls to you in all of those areas and just specialize in on that. Like if you know you want to be a bass music producer that has, you know, cartoon like drawings and does animations kind of Charlie Brown style of some sort of character and his sidekick and they go through, you know, this story, then like, yeah, then the selling point isn't the dubstep that accompanies that necessarily. It's this whole world you're creating, right? So yeah, I think it just comes down to like how much of a control freak are you when it comes to creative stuff and what are you trying to do? And I guess to wrap that up too, like I always think about this in the context of this video I saw where they were talking about Joe Rogan and they were talking about like how he's not really the best at anything he does. But as soon as I say Joe Rogan, everybody's like, oh yeah, chimps, DMT, jujitsu, like podcasting, like all of these like different aspects to this dude. And like people latch onto that, you know, more so than a lot of like the MMA fighters they're watching or any of the other podcasters they're looking at. Or I guess he's probably their favorite chimp too. And
don't forget host of Fear Factor.
And hosted Fear Factor, yeah.
Oh,
so it's just like everything coming together.
I was wondering who
it's like the pieces
was.
of Exodia coming together and they summon Joe Rogan.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Damn. It's been a while.
Yeah, man. Fear Factor is some classic trash TV.
Yeah, right.
I love that shit.
I mentioned that specifically because I think Hulu has like all the seasons of Fear Factor.
No kidding.
And just like as perfect like drivel to watch when you're fried. Fear Factor is so on point because like the gear everyone wears is so haggard. It's so like early 2000s and like it's just such a flashback and it's all hilarious.
Cockroach.
Yeah, exactly.
Man,
That's the example I was thinking of. Literally, the one where they're in the oh shit, I forgot. They had to eat a whole bunch of cockroaches. Everyone was like, ew. And they're like, I need to do it for the fame. They're like stuffing their mouth with cockroaches. Yeah.
I need $50,000.
Yeah, right.
So I wanted to make sure that we at least mentioned in this podcast your latest accolade, winning the remix contest.
Yeah.
We chatted a little bit about it before the show, but can you give us an overview of what that was like? You know, what making that song was like, how your life has changed for the better. You know, I heard that song bought you the house that you're sitting in, maybe the hoodie on your back and at least the headphones on your head.
Yeah. My whole life has changed thanks to the Kermode remix. one.
Woo! Shouts Kermode.
I could live now. I'm free from jail. No, just kidding.
Getting all those royalties.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I use that for bail. Yeah.
And he produced it through the prison phone, and it still sounded crispy. Just like we said, you can't tell the difference between the MP3 and the wave.
Yeah, right.
Throwback.
Yeah, it was actually really crazy. It was like it was at peak like COVID, like existential crisis, you know. We're like all like going through this like goddamn like reevaluating our lives, you know what I'm saying? Like real deep shit. Like, what am I doing? Why am I just sitting here and like, you know, watching TV and not producing or something, you know? But I think it really started from I had a lesson with Spiderhound, and I think somewhere around there was the time that the Spiderhound Human Music podcast came out. And he was talking about, you know, he does it daily, right? Then I had a lesson with him, and it was fucking incredible because I had no idea how to process my drums. I was like making this house song that just sounded off, and I asked him, "Hey, can we go and like do the kick and the snare?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes in and he's putting all these things on the chain. Like, I've watched this video so many fucking times, but because it's so useful. But he what is it? He found the frequency of the kick, took out a resonance, and then accented the beater that's like around like 1K or whatever. You know, put a little bit of saturation on it, put spiff on it. And literally explain all this stuff. And I would ask him a question, and then he would go back and just redo everything and be like, "Oh, maybe that didn't sound right." And I was just thinking like, "Oh my God, it sounded amazing. Like, holy shit, you just fucked it up." And then he does it again and it sounds better at the end. I'm like, "Oh my God, he didn't fuck it up," you know? And like, there's only one way that happens, and it's like practicing every single day, you know? So it was like really cool to see that in real time. And like, because like the information was so important, this literally sounds like a plug for Producer Dojo, but like,
it's at least a plug for Spiderhound. Shout out Spiderhound, the boy.
Shout out Spiderhound.
Half this show is a plug for Producer Dojo because we all work there and we all love it. You know, we make no secret of that. We love Dylan, we love Sean, we love Spiderhound, we love all these people, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is like a firsthand testimony. Because like the video was literally so important to like my understanding, and just to see that I ended up seeing that process over and over, and then I was like, oh shit, like maybe I should start doing like stuff every day. And then so I made a plan. I told myself like I'm gonna get my life together. Like got out of bed and just was like, all right, I'm going to produce for an hour a day. I'm going to DJ on my controller for 30 minutes a day because that shit had dust on it. I'm going to work out for 30 minutes every day. There's like a gym downstairs in my apartment building, so it's really easy to go to. And I committed myself to it because I thought that like, it literally felt like the Nietzsche experiment where it's like, I just seeing my life like pass me by, and I'm like, God damn, I'm getting older and I'm not making like more music and I'm not releasing more music. Like, damn. And we have to go through that to get to the point where we're like motivated enough to like do something great. You know, I think every person who's ever done something great has gotten to that like rock bottom point. And I was like, this is the point where I turn this around. Like I'm taking my life back. You know? So, I started doing that every day. And I think about 2 months in, 2 months in, the Kermode remix competition came around, and I was like, oh shit, well, I'm just going to give this a shot and just see how it goes. And I just, I don't know. It was crazy. It was like a flow state. You know how like they say like your best songs are ones that like happen like really quickly. That's literally what happened. It was like hitting a gold mine. Like, you know how like 1 out of every 10 songs is going to be like gold. That just happened to be the one. Because I was doing it every day, you know what I'm saying? And I like used all of my like previous learning from like other genres and stuff. It's like, I swear to God, this feels like it's like some sort of like acid trip awakening. It's like
It could be.
everything. I mean, dude, it felt like it.
We dosed you through Zoom.
Yeah. It was like, okay, so like I did this thing where I put like I take a little like a rap chant from like a vocal pack and I layer it behind like a hi-hat, like especially for like house music, and it gives it like a really nice like feel to the hi-hat. And I did stuff like that. I used presets that I'd made like during my 2-month journey and stuff, and it all just kind of came together and just became this one flow. And that was the remix I submitted, you know, to put it as vague as possible. Like that's how it all came about. And honestly, it got to the point where it's like when I submitted it, I was like, you know, I don't even care if nobody like listens to this, but like, you know, like at least I did it, you know, and if it wins, cool. If it doesn't, then like whatever, I'll just do the next one. And it ended up winning, you know?
Yeah. What was your reaction to that?
It was like, this feels so douchey to say, but it was like, I got a message, I think from Spiderhound actually. And he was like, congrats on winning the contest. I was like, I was like, what? And I checked my email and I went to the Skio website and I found that I won. I was like, oh shit, I actually won. Like, this is so weird. It's like a reality. And that was my reaction, man. It's like,
not sound douchey, says the most humble thing ever.
Yeah, like, oh my God, I won. Oh, wow. That's nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel bad for all those producers out there that are like grinding and they're like, God damn it, I just want to make it, you know?
Don't feel bad, bro. You're finally the one. You're the one, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
That's
man.
true. Yeah. Yeah, man. It felt like I think there was like a weekly download where Ill Gates was talking to, I think, Excision's manager or something, and he was like saying like, you know, we just started making music and working together, and the next thing you know, we're here. We don't even know it. And that's kind of how it felt, and I think that's the key to this whole thing. It's like, just dive deep into the journey and like pick out parts of the journey that you really love, because no matter whether you win or you lose, like you're going to enjoy that part of it. And because music is like an emotion-based art, like very, very emotion-based, like that emotion will come out in your music just automatically. And yeah, then you'll win like a remix competition or something. I don't know.
Make a house for yourself.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, bro. Big ups on that. Congrats, man. And I just kind of want to do just one little throwback to maybe my favorite Munchii track, another remix competition that you won. The Do It For Me remix EP has a killer Munchii track on it, if I do say so myself. Also, some dude named Rip Kinney put a pretty sick track on there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, dude, that, man, I remember, and one of the craziest things to me about that was the track that you submitted, Munchii, to originally the day like the remix contest ended and we went on Facebook Live, me and Sam Shoemaker, listening to the tracks. Like, that version of the track blew my socks off. And then you started working with Ill Gates on it before, you know, in that long march to the actual label release EP. And dude, that song evolved like 3 more times or something, right? Like with like complete like revamps and reworks of drops. And like every time I was like, no, this one knocks my socks off. And then that one went in my live set. And then the next one's like, oh, okay, forget that one. This one's in my live set now. And so, dude, I just wanted to shout you out for fucking making a face melter right there, just because I love that fucking jam, bro.
Face Melt Factory, dude. You should change your name to Face Melt Factory, dude. Are you kidding me?
I'm just gonna vote. I like the name Munchii. I think it's badass. Maybe Face Melt Factory is the name of a tune or an EP.
Man,
That sounds pretty sick.
Oh, that's spicy.
Gotta ask, what's the inspo for the little mascot dude you got going on? And I'm curious if there's any plans to like push that further. Like, I kind of want to volley back that question to you as far as like, you know, you're talking about, you know, how you want to get to like video stuff and all of that. Like, what do you picture the Munchii brand sort of, or not the brand, because that sounds so corporate, but like
I
the
feel you.
experience, like what do you want people to feel and like, yeah, basically experience when they listen to Munchii?
Yeah, it's so the logo first came about because I hope I have the original drawings. But like, so when I was a kid, I used to I was really into Pokemon. I still am, but whatever.
Hey,
Shout out to Ariel.
New Sword and Shield is pretty sick, even though they skimped out on the development, but that's okay. Anyway, I would draw these like little characters, and they like look like little Pac-Man like things, but they were kind of like, they had like fly wings, and they had like sharp teeth and like little stubby legs and stuff. And I would just draw them everywhere. And I called them Munchies. And this was before like I even knew Munchii was like a weed term. Like I was like 6, you know. So I mean, I guess nobody thought anything of it like that. But yeah, I was like trying to come up with another name because I was originally Veins, and I was like, dude, this is just like so try hard to be like hardcore or something, you know. Like it was cool for a sec, but it was just like, God damn it, I need something else that really represents me. And I thought this thing represented me really well, because it was kind of like, it was like really like almost kind of like dangerous, or like has the ability to I guess like fuck up your face, right? Or like face melt you, you know?
oh yeah.
But like, because he has like sharp teeth and stuff, but at the same time he's just like kind of a happy little like, you know, go lucky guy, you know, just like, but when he's about his business, he's about his business, right? Like you don't mess with that, you know.
Love it.
Sounds like you, man.
I hope so, man. I hope so, you know.
Dude, I love hearing that too, because like it also ties back to something you mentioned earlier I wanted to touch on, but missed my opportunity, is that like the new face and sound and like direction that you're taking the Munchii project, it's all like a return to like, not a return, but like an awakening, using your own words, of like your original like ethos of yourself, and like the music that really moved you, like from like the get, right? Talking about like the sound that you see yourself moving forward. It's something that I talk about on this podcast all the time. It's like when I figured out the sound that I wanted to make, it's when I stopped going, what doesn't exist in the world and what can I make?
Yeah.
It's like, what do I fucking love? Like what represents me, and in all of its shapes and forms, and how can that represent itself? And so that's an ethos that I found really beneficial to myself and my music. And I love hearing that like you're doing the same with yours, and even all the way back to the little characters that you drew when you were a kid all over the place.
I
Like
love
that is such a perfect origin story for why behind the project and the brand. It's just like, you know, it's I know brand is a corporate word, but like that's a perfect brand.
Hey,
There's like a cheeky little story behind it. I love it.
If you bring the rapping back, it'll all come full circle.
Hey.
Dude, you got to make a tag on all your beats that's like rah, 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 rah.
Yeah, I was thinking of that, like a little Munchii, like a Pokemon, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a work in progress.
But I think that Munchii is ready to be on hats and shirts for sure, bro. Like your merch booth when shows open up again is gonna be lit.
I need a Munchii dad
Yeah,
head.
that sounds fucking sick.
Amen. Woo!
Yeah, boy.
So let's wrap it up with you telling all the people where to find you and all of your delicious edible tunes and how to keep up with you moving forward.
Yeah. So, like we mentioned earlier, the Kermode remix song I did for that I won and got my house from. That's out right now on Producer
I love that we're
Dojo.
rolling with that.
Yeah, I finished a DJ set and a tutorial for the video for the song. It should be coming out like I think in a few weeks. Producer Dojo
on Dojo TV.
Yeah, on Dojo TV.
Yeah,
Sick.
we'll put a link to Dojo TV.
Yeah. Which is
Official
also
sponsor.
yeah. That's
Not
really a
so
big
much.
part of the dojo now. Something that I had an idea for and took lead before. Like I was just like,
Yeah, we need to have you on again, bro, because you asked us too many questions that were awesome and took up so much time
Dude,
that
we
we
should-
I have so much I still want to talk to you about. So you're coming back, all right?
Yeah. We always say we're going to do an episode where we haven't done a questions episode in a while. And I think it would be fucking hilarious to sit here and field the existential questions that you dude, that first question you asked us almost broke my brain already. So like having you back on to answer some other people's questions, get your perspective, and then also finish your list of brain breakers.
yeah, totally, dude. I'm so down. 100%. 100%. Yeah.
All right. What's your social handles? I mean, I know, but tell the people.
Yeah, so my socials pretty much everywhere is at Munchii, bruh. So Munchii is MUNCHII, and then BRUH. But I am working on an EP right now, and around the time that the EP releases, I want to change everything to Munchii Stay Hungry. So yeah, just look out for that. But yeah, follow me everywhere, man. Hit me up, DM me. I'm always down to talk, you know. So yeah.
Yeah.
All around good dude. Absolute fire producer. Munchii, everyone. Golf
Winner
clap.
of houses.
Woo!
First of his name.
Thank you. Hey, we can hear you clap now.
Yeah.
I know. What?
You did the thing. Okay.
The most
Yeah, it's all good. This probably still sounds squishy. Throw back to before the episode started, guys.
dude, you're gonna have to clip that in at the end. The fucking
Yeah, right. A little postscript of me struggling to clap on mic. Come on, microphone! I swear I'm clapping. Well, all right,
Oh.
y'all.
Thanks for joining us, bro. This was awesome. And yeah, thanks for bringing questions too. That was fun. I feel like we probably didn't even get to like half of them because you know how that ADD goes. But
Part 2
I
coming
think we
soon.
reeled it in and got some good stuff here. So yeah, man, I'm looking
This is a
forward to
killer
part
episode.
2.
Yeah. I'll be back.
Peace out, humans.
Big up.
What do we say, Munchii? Peace
Stay
among
hungry.
worlds.
Worlds.
Stay hungry, y'all.
I
like it.
All right, humans, as Rip Kinney would say, that was a spicy episode. Very big thanks to Munchii for being on. Please go follow him. Links down below. And make sure you hit that subscribe, the like, the comment, the share, all those things that will help us reach more producers just like you who are hungry, like Munchii, for this content. And please, again, support our sponsors. These are all things that we love and use. First off, Dojo TV, free producer live stream classes from the Producer Dojo Senseis and Ill Gates. In fact, we take live questions and do music video breakdowns and stuff like that on Dojo TV. So hop on. It is free. Guest practices, where you can learn from Seth Drake, the best engineer we know. With guest practices, your first class is free. And Gvngaroo Records music distribution, where you can get unlimited uploads for under $10. All those links down below. Peace out, humans. Peace among worlds.
Yo, what's up, humans?
Wait a sec.
Waiting a sec.
All right, we good now.
I didn't hear that for some reason.
I didn't hear that either. No. Harder. No.
That's so weird.
No,
What is
nothing.
going on?
How about this?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I hear that.
I heard that. No, Luke, we got nothing.
Luke, what is
Clap.
going
You
on,
got
bro?
the clap mic.
How do you put claps in your
Redefine
songs,
physics
man?
You
right
got
now.
clap muted.
Yo, check 1, 2.
Yeah, we
You
can
can
hear
hear
your
me when I
voice
talk,
really
but
well.
when I snap and when I clap, absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, no, I see it. It's not even moving my mic. That is the weirdest shit ever.
Crazy.
Bro.
Oh man,
What if you do it up to the mic?
the other day I turned my background noise settings to like fucking high. So I was on Zoom and like Disney fucking watch party with my mom for her birthday. So it was like fucking WandaVision was playing like 2 seconds later on her TV. So it would like feedback through, and like right after I heard somebody say some shit, it would say some shit. So I was like trying to fuck with the noise. It didn't work because there was voices, of course. So that shit came through loud and clear. So I just had to turn the shit
Flapping
down.
cheeks in the background.
Let's try.
What?
Let's try this shit now.
There we go.
Most
All right.
logic clap I've ever heard.
Like it feels like it's pretty loud over here, man. I'm giving myself a round of applause in this.
That is the fucking floppiest transient I have ever heard.
Fucking see, and this is why we're using Ringer, so I can see.
Dude, it sounds like a wet sack of meat hitting the toilet.
Oh man, I feel like all this is part of the podcast now. What do y'all think?
Yeah. It's the bloopers. It's the extras.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Tuska, you want to take us away?
Bro, yeah, that was a trip. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how that even made sense. But